Mr. Landi, would you like to come and chat with us about transparency?
Thank you.
You'll have 5 minutes to address the board.
All right.
If you'll just introduce yourself for the record and also confirm that
You
you're
bet.
resident.
Yep, Dan Landi. I live in Caldwell County, but I do live in the district.
Thank you.
Yeah, today I'd like to talk about transparency. I know we've been here and done this before, but thanks to the good doctor here, it's just something that just popped up that really wasn't in my notes to discuss, but we'll go ahead and cover it. It's about transparency. Look at page 13, how competency levels have gone down in English, language arts, and science. And they've only gone up since last year's totals, only gone up just a couple of percentage points in math and social studies. So we're in all categories, under 50% of our kids are proficient. And you know, and to me that's a transparency issue. In other words, you know, why? At the very top there's a disclaimer about this is, you know, due to COVID and due to, you know, lockdowns and quarantines and whatever. And I'm sure that was a contributing factor, but as a parent, as a taxpayer, as a resident, how do I know that the teachers that are teaching our kids are competent? You know, we expect our kids to take competency tests. Why don't our teachers take competency tests? You know, and this isn't a slam on anybody, it really isn't. But it just, to me, it makes sense as an outsider looking in. Sometimes when you're inside the bubble, so to speak, you can't see the forest for the trees. Everything's just too close and you're too deeply involved, and I get it, because I've been there. But as an outsider's perspective, you know, where's the proficiency standards for teachers? I mean, I know that, you know, they get certified, you know, state certification, and then you go to you know, training and refresher training and sustainment training and all this other, and I get it, but you know, maybe our teachers aren't really teaching you know, properly, or you know, maybe there's better ways of teaching our kids that the way we can start catching on, we can bring these numbers up. You know, and I'm not saying that, you know, teach the kids the test, right? You don't want to just teach them how, you know, the proper answers. You know, then you know, after the test they you know, dump the information. But I mean, teach the way they learn. Anyway, so that's just something to think about. It's just something that came up due to the new information. Back to this other. I wanted to talk about transparency as it relates to the book issue, because I've been on your website and I've seen you know, your progress report on the website, which I appreciate that. I mean, at least we can go, parents can go and check it out. But a little disheartening that there's only been 5 books reviewed in out of approximately 80 books you have listed. You've only done 5, and it's taken 3 months to do it. So little disappointing there, but there were also some things that weren't on your website that I had questions about, like what are the criteria? What are the judges, these committee people, looking for in these books to determine whether or not we're going to keep the book or dump the book? You know, in other words, you know, it would be nice if you listed a list of criteria that they're, you know, the standards that they're going to hold these books to, you know, judge these books. Also, it would be nice if we understood, you know, how are they voting? You know, like they voted to all of the 5 books that they chose to keep, or that they reviewed, they chose to keep all of them. Retain without restriction, I think is how it's listed on the website. You know, so, okay, but how did they come to that conclusion? You know, did they all have eyes on the book? Did they all read the book cover to cover, or did one person read each book and then they compared notes? You know, it's just something that we should know as parents, you know, transparency part of it. Here's something else too. The, you know, we understand that when they vote on whether or not to keep a book or not, this vote is anonymously. They vote anonymously. Is that, am I correct? I mean, I think that's what someone had talked to you, I think, Mr. Robinson, and that's what you had said, or maybe via email or some kind of correspondence. That was the answer we got from the school, that we don't know how they voted. They voted anonymously. Well, you know, where's the transparency there, right? I mean, you know, for accountability's sake, you know, people need to, you know, everything needs to be on the table, right? I mean, when you folks take a vote, you know, it's, you know, right hands up, you know, I mean, you're being held accountable. I mean, and so I think that the review panel, the review committee should be held to the same standards. You know, if they're going to stand by a book and say this book is okay to keep in our school, then we need to know, we as parents need to know, okay, which person said that. Looking at these books, there's 5 books that they reviewed. 3 of the 5 have to do with homosexuality and or heterosexuality. Very graphic stuff. 3 of the 5, and Juliet Takes a Breath, Cheer Up, Love and Pom Poms, and All Boys Aren't Blue. If you go to booklooks.org, that's a website that I actually use to get the rundown on these books. Booklooks.org. They've got a rating system. It's wonderful. I'm about out of time. I can't go into all that, but see for yourself. Of these 3 books that are homosexual in nature, 2 are rated a 3 and 1 is rated a 4. Here's the 3. Extreme, and this is how book looks. Well, I'm out of time. Anyway, go to book looks and you'll see. Thank you.